friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show. And today you guys were on episode 225, Being Real About Botox Injury Part 5. You guys, I cannot believe that I started my advocacy journey in Botox in 2021 with Gretch from Never Talks, and I am here now in 2025 with 5 incredible guests coming on and sharing their stories. I could not be more grateful for these women. I am so in awe of their bravery. I am so disgusted on how they've been treated, whether that's in the medical society or in the comment section, but I also just feel super honored that they're willing to share their stories on my show. This has been a very interesting journey in advocacy. I've learned a lot, but I am super appreciative and I stand by these women through and through, and doesn't matter how much bullshit in the comment section is, I am still always going to stand for these women on the show. And again, thank them so much. This will be the last one in the series, so I'm going to take a little pause on this one, but the 5 stories that we have here are incredible, and I highly suggest, if you've not watched part 1, 2, 3, and 4, to go and do so. We're looking at episode 214, 215, 216, and 224. And today, 225 with Ange. I'm very excited that you guys get to meet her. She's someone that I met early on in her journey and in my advocacy, and I have been following her story ever since. And I'm just so incredibly proud of her that she feels strong enough to come on today. And I'm just so excited for you guys to meet her, because she is definitely what, when you meet those people and you're like soul people, like I think we were put on other sides of Canada and the States because we would cause too much trouble together. We'd be too much spice, But before we get on to this amazing episode, I just want to remind you, if you are listening on Apple or Spotify, to make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. If you are listening on Rumble, make sure to like, subscribe, and you can comment there as well. And if you want to find me on social media, you can find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on Instagram or TikTok. And don't forget, you can see me 2 more times in the week if you are interested in listening more than just Fridays. So I have the Be Real Babe podcast on Fridays, Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. And then we have the Be Real Babe show every Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays, you're keeping up with Canada, and Wednesdays, we talk about insane shit I find on the internet. And those 2 are exclusively on YouTube, because YouTube likes to take me down for my personal stories and interviews on this channel. But you guys, I'm going to shut the fuck up and we're going to get to this amazing episode. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have a very special guest joining me for her first time. I'd like to welcome Angela to the show. Hey, babe, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so sorry this happened to you and we have to talk about this, but I'm very happy that you're here today.
Oh my God. I'm glad to finally be on. I know I wanted to come on in the past and I just wasn't ready. And now it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's talk about it.
I was so happy. And I hope you know that, like, when we first talked about it, like, mad respect to you, because like I said, I understand the mental, not to the level that you guys do, but after speaking out and being more vocal this season, I definitely see the mental anguish that this can pose. So I was just like, yeah. I hope you felt that I was like, no questions. I just adore you. And your story hit me so deep. And so I was like, oh, when you're ready, girl, I need you on here.
Yeah. And I knew I wanted to. It took me a minute. It took me a minute to just get through it, because I mean, even having my Instagram, and it is dedicated to this, and being damaged by beauty industry standards and the hate that I get, but I also get love too. Yes. It can be so exhausting, and it takes a while to like recover from that sometimes.
Especially when you're fucking going through it.
When you're suffering from clinical botulism, and now I'm 17 months out. So, I mean, I've made leaps and bounds, and I would say I'm probably like at 90% better, but like, I'm still trying to get back to who I was before all this happened. And when I went public, and
you did.
What comes along with that is crazy.
It really does. It really does. Yeah. for one
just a
person.
normal person.
Yeah, I'm just a babe with a thing that I said. And it's just like, one thing that frustrates me, that I find too, is just like, support and believe all women. But then for some reason, and I said this in the last episode, when it comes to Botox, it's just like, oh no, she's not telling the truth. Like I was even not arguing, but kind of educating people on them saying it's rare. And I'm like, well, interesting. I have 20 episodes this season, and 5 of those are for girls that have had very similar and different experiences with Botox. Now, I understand, like, was that like correlation, is it causation, or whatever the fuck that saying is, but at the same time, there's lots of red flags here, and what net negative is it of us talking about it? But before we jump a little bit deeper into that, which I'm not excited because that's a fucking awful thing to say. Like, I'm so excited to find out how fucked up you got deeper, but just because watching on the outside and seeing you be such a strong advocate right out the gate, I was like, this girl is so fucking strong. But before Botox changed your life, what was life like, and what did you do before that? What was Angela pre-Botox?
So pre-Botox, and I have a long history with it. So I'll just basically start out with who I am. I'm Ange. I live in the Midwest, literally right smack dab in the middle. I'm in Nebraska. I have 3 kids. I'm married. We have like a simple life. Like, we're regular, average people. And I started dabbling in Botox because I just thought it was something that you did. So the first time I ever experienced anything that had to do with these products was I was 24 years old. And I went into the dermatologist to like get a mole or something checked out. And I would see, like the signs that would advertise Dysport and Botox and shit like that. And I asked about it. It said something about preventative aging, like preventative this, that, the other. And I'm like, well, what is that? What does that do? Do I need that? Like, it was just so... I felt like I was so naive in it. I didn't know how the products actually worked. I didn't know what it was. I just was like, is that something I need? Like, I don't want to age ungracefully. We'll just put it that way. So the guy
thought in your head.
Yeah.
Put the thought in your head before you had it.
Mm-hmm. The guy was just like, oh yeah, this would be great for you. It's just, it's like microdosing and this, that, and the other. And it just prevents aging. It prevents fine lines and wrinkles. And if you get ahead of it, then you don't have to deal with like deep lines when you get older. And I'm like, oh, cool. Let's try it. So I went in to get a mole checked, and I walked out with a face full of Dysport, and it was weird. Like it set in pretty fast, like within a few days. And all of a sudden I was totally frozen. Like, it was weird. I was 24 years old. I've never experienced anything like that before. I was just like, oh, I saw a sign.
Maybe
normal? I should do this. This is normal. He's saying it's normal. I should do this. It was weird. Like, I was totally frozen. And that night I actually had a panic attack because I got scared. I was like, oh my God, is this bad? I told my husband about it. We weren't married at the time. Maybe we were. No, we were married at the time. I told him about it. I was like, yeah, I tried this out. The dermatologist recommended it, so I did it. And he's like, what? Why are you doing that? He's like, do you even know what that is? And so he was kind of freaked out, and that freaked me out. And I literally had a panic attack about it. And then my sister, when she was still alive, she was a nurse. I was like, is this going to do something to me? She's like, no, you're fine, but you don't need it. You're 24 years old. You don't need to be doing this right now. You don't need this. So the dermatologist was
telling you.
Yeah. So I had it, and it probably lasted a couple of months or so. And then once that wore off, I was like, okay, cool. I didn't touch it for years. So that was my very first experience with it. It froze my whole face. I had a panic attack. My husband got freaked out. I was freaked out. Like, it was weird. It was unnecessary. And I really, truly didn't need it. I was 24.
Of course.
So let's see, by 24, I had 1 child already. I was turning 25 because that's why I did it. I was having my quarter of a century birthday in a couple of weeks. So of course I went and I did something very special for myself, which was injected myself. But whatever. So fast forward, I think I picked it up after I had my second child, and I would have been around 28, 29, approaching 30. So that's when I started to pick it back up. And again, it wasn't like I was going out to get it. I was going to a med spa for scar revision. They have like these special lasers that can help out with scarring. And so again, I was seeing Botox, Dysport, anti-aging, like all the things. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Well, now I'm like creeping into my 30s. Maybe I should start considering something, like I'm starting to see lines set in. I'm starting to change. I have a couple kids now. And that's how I started actually regularly using Botox and products like that.
Okay.
I was done breastfeeding my second child. So, yep, I started. And, when I first started getting it, it was fine. I would just get like a little bit here and there. It helped. It smoothed out my skin. I don't feel that I looked frozen or fake or weird. I didn't look like a mask at first.
Natural. Yeah.
I never did. I looked natural. I still had movement. And then I got pregnant with my third kid. And of course, I wasn't using it. So I was on again, off again with it throughout the years. And then it was probably maybe 2019 or 2020 when I really got back into it, started using it, and I would switch between Botox and Dysport. And again, I didn't really have any problems. I would just get a little bit here and there, and it at the time made me feel better about my appearance. I thought I was doing something. Again, I was just very naive to the process. I still at this point didn't exactly know what it was doing to my muscles in my face. Here's what I thought. I thought it was a chemical that you injected and it simply just wore off.
Yeah.
And just come to find
like the
out.
dentist. Like the dentist, like you just get needles for like fillings or something. That's what my understanding was until I met Nevertalks.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I remember, and this is like a core memory that I didn't know was a core memory at the time. When I got sick, all of this shit starts flooding back and you're just like, oh my God, like, was that something that like my conscious, my higher self was like trying to tell me? Because I remember I went in there one day and it was like, it wasn't the last treatment that did me in. It was a treatment. And I'm like, can this hurt me? Like, this isn't going to do anything to me, right? Like, could this kill me or anything? And I remember the injector, she started laughing. She was like, oh, girl. She's like, nothing bad ever happens with cosmetic usage. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm not doing something to harm myself, because
of course,
I don't, maybe it's 3 kids in, you have anxiety. Maybe it was actually the fact that I was in there to get more injections and my body's like, we don't want this anymore.
Yeah. Could be age. Could be age, man, because I swear in my 20s, I would take any pill anybody offered me. Now going in my 40s, I'm like, what is this vitamin and what are in these vitamins? Like,
will I die?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I come with age as well. No,
yeah.
Close.
So that became a core memory when I got sick, when shit really hit the fan, when I thought I was truly going to die.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's interesting that you say that. I had another girl on here as well that said there was a moment where she looked back where her body was kind of telling her like, hey, I don't know about this. And she was like, honestly, if I just went back to that moment, but like, how the fuck do you know? Because I was saying too, like, women, we're so bad at just like discrediting our stuff. Like, especially you moms, like I cat mom here, so can't relate, but I see it in my guests throughout, and it's always like dismissed because it's like a mom and fair. You guys are fucking doing so much, so it's so fair to attribute this headaches or your body feeling tired or those little things that maybe were your body flagging you like, hey, this might not be for you. You just equate to being a mom, being a business, corporate girly, whatever podcast. We equate that, and then sometimes when we don't have the right systems around us saying, hey, this could be a thing, we just think, oh, it's us. We're not eating properly. We're probably not sleeping. We're probably not drinking, right? Because we probably all, in fact, aren't. But I don't think that's the contribute to these big factors. I think that we just dismiss those little things because everyone, men probably do it too. I just speak to women more. But is that fair to say? Like going through those little things,
so
you just attribute?
I think sometimes we have these gut feelings and we start asking questions, and I was laughed at in that moment. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm just being silly. Like, this isn't going to hurt me, because it was like, could this hurt me? Like, I was dead serious. Like, I'm concerned. I have these children and, they're my world. And like, am I hurting myself by trying to prevent the inevitable?
Yeah.
And so,
good point.
And it was, she laughed it off, and I was like, oh, okay, now I feel better. That was so silly. No, it was like a gut thing. Like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this anymore. Maybe it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So if I could go back to that moment, I might just be like, let me read the box, please. Can we talk about this?
Yes.
Can we talk, please?
So question about that, because I've obviously never been in one of these appointments, and this is totally fucking ignorant, and sorry if you don't know the answer, but when they say a black box warning, like, is there actually like it on the box, or is it just like you look it up and on PubMed or some shit like that, it tells you that? Like, does it say that on the box?
So I believe that it has to say it on the box that this product has a black box warning.
And you guys don't see that?
No, we don't see that. And to be honest, it's like you go in there and you fill out a little consent form. It's like you electronically, or you just I used to sign it with paper and then they moved to electronic and you go in there and you kind of sign your life away. You don't read it. It's there. It says things if you really took the time. Like if your provider really sat down with you and was like, hey, do you know what widespread toxin effect is? This is what could happen. And they say rare and uncommon. It's not. Like, that's the biggest fucking lie. It's not. It's not. Like, I'm a regular ass person and this happened to me. And I have tons of people that were in my group that used to use it too. I actually was like the reason a couple of people started using it, because I was like, thought it was so great. I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do the point system and this, that, and the other. And I always looked so natural with it. And it's like now those same people, I'm like, we're not doing this anymore. You know that, right? You can't do it anymore. You're not doing it. It's not worth it. Trust me. You start doing it because of me, and look at what happened to me. Now you cannot do it. Otherwise we just can't talk anymore. That's where I'm at. So.
I mean, and that's totally fair too, because I feel a lot of people like get discredited just because of ones that use it. It's like, that's the biggest fight I have in the comment. Well, I used it, and it's like, okay, how can we not understand that everyone is uniquely different? And again, what is the net negative for you guys coming out and telling your story? If anything, don't you guys feel more empowered when it happened to you that you knew, or you found somewhere that had this information versus not fucking knowing what was going on? Isn't that scarier to me, not having any sort of idea what's going on to you?
Right. I say it all the time. If I would have that's why I spoke out so quick. That's why I really started sharing. If I would have saw somebody that put out what I put out in that very beginning, that may have stopped me in my tracks, because I wasn't getting the information. If you Google it online, you get, again, watered down shit. Oh, it's safe, uncommon, rare. You ask your provider, they laugh. You know, there's nobody that's really telling you the actual real dangers. And now it's a whole movement. It really is. There's so many people coming out. And so I wish so badly that I would have seen a story like mine earlier on before this happened, because like I said, the only thing that ever happened was a gut feeling. I never had symptoms ever. Anytime I would go in there, it was like, cool. It's like maybe once in a while I'd experience a headache or something.
Yeah, the flu or something, like a Botox flu, I heard.
Not even that.
Not even that? Okay.
No, it's like I got it done. It was fine. It never even stopped me in my tracks. I never even thought about it. It's like, just don't work out right after your appointment, because you don't want it to like droop your eye or something. That was the only warnings that I ever got. Just don't drink alcohol that night, or don't work out hard that night. Let your body rest so it stays in place. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then you're thinking like, you can't drink alcohol or work out after it so it doesn't move out of place. So it's like, well, what happens if it moves out of place? You could have, ptosis or whatever, a droopiness, or it can go into your central nervous system and cause a widespread toxin effect and completely.
So we can affirm that it does okay, so hold on, let me connect this. Is this maybe some place that they're trying to get an out? It's like, all these things you can't do because it'll spread, but then they said it doesn't spread. But then if you do that, that's your fault, because you must have done something on this list that you wasn't supposed to do to spread it, but it doesn't spread it. Don't say it spreads it. Like the gaslighting you guys go under. Yeah. I feel gaslit from the outside. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I'm fucking crazy, but I'm like, no. But you're just saying in 1 second, don't. Okay, so after the 24 hours, it's just magically, that's it? And every single body, you're okay, right? Like how is that science? How is it 24 hours, then it's just all gravy? Like how?
But the funny thing is, the really funny thing is, topper is within hours to weeks, this could travel systemically.
This is true.
Hours, like, so really it's like, what does that even mean?
What's the first 24 hours even mean?
What's the first 24 hours if it can spread 2 weeks later and shut your whole system down, which that's kind of what happened to me.
Well, and it's like, that's why I was like, it's poisoning, you guys. It's
poison.
Like it takes time. It's like poison spreads, not to be like scary, right? But it's not like what's that word, acute? Like it's not just like one spot, it will spread. So, okay. So you 3 babies in, oh my gosh. Okay. 3 babies in, we haven't had any problems. We had some gut things. And like you said, had there been something like never talks, or like you out there, me, any one of the girls that come on the show, maybe that moment when you had that gut instinct, maybe that would have launched you the fuck out of the chair and been like, your reaction is weird. Because to me, when I bring up something to somebody and they laugh at it and they dismiss it immediately, could be a trauma response, but immediately that's a red flag to me. I'm like, hold up. you don't know my story, so why are you dismissing me immediately? That means you have a bias. So I don't really feel safe anymore having this conversation or carrying on. And I think that maybe would have been more of a red flag. So that's why it is important to speak up. But you obviously didn't know that. You had that gut instinct. You went through, had baby number 3, continued.
Yeah.
After that?
So after baby 3, that's like when that question came up. It was at some point
baby 3,
after baby 3. And I want to say it was like I picked the talks back up. I think it was maybe 1.5 to 2 years after I had her. Because it's like, okay, here I am. Now I'm in my 30s. Now there's a lot going on, 3 kids each and life and 2 businesses at this point. And I'm like, I'm starting to see the stress. I'm starting to see it on my face. Little did I know, injections are like the fast food of skincare. Like there's so many better things you could be doing than just like putting that shit in your face. But 100%. I didn't know any better.
No, marketing's a bitch, man.
Yeah, it really is. And so continued it. Even when I asked that question, nothing happened at that point. I wish I would have remembered like how many sessions ago that was. And so that led me to November of 2023. These were my last injections. So I went in, I got my regular like forehead, crow feet, whatever, all of that. And they had a special, and it had to do with the neck bands. And
God damn it.
It was like Thanksgiving time, turkey neck special, and this, that, and the other, and that's what they called it. And I'm like, oh shit, you really start to not match your neck. That's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Neck, like your face is frozen. You see the neck movement. You can tell when someone's in their 30s or 40s. You can by the neck alone. And so I was like, I might need that. And so I asked my injector about it. I'm like, well, what's that about? I've never tried it before. Like, is this safe? Should I do this? Should I add it on? Is it like should I do it? She's like, oh my God, you're going to love it. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Of course. Imagine she's like, no,
I'm
going
to love it. That's like another thing. You're going to love it. And then like that is the treatment. That is the session that did me in. And so it was Dysport. This is going to sound crazy. I went in, I got 189 units of Dysport that day. Yeah, 189.
Hold up. Isn't like 20 the max, or did I make up that number?
50.
50, okay.
50. I didn't know this
maybe
at
it's
the
the
time.
other one. Maybe it was the other one that's 20. Okay.
Yeah. And at this time, neck bands were not approved. They were not approved yet. I didn't know that either. So that's something else that wasn't discussed. This treatment is not approved. Here's what may happen. This is why it's not approved. So a lot of people say, well, that happened to you because you got it in your neck, and that's why.
Fuck off. Okay.
Well, you know what? That's not why, because we have, like I said, like I'm a moderator in the not in Never Talks. I'm sorry, in the Botox Dysport side effects support group. I'm a moderator there, and we have people. I think the lowest amount of units that has come through the door having systemic botulism has been like 4 units. So
doesn't matter.
It doesn't have to do with that. That may have been my toxin load. That may have been the treatment that put me over, but it doesn't mean that that's the only reason why. It's because it's how it works. It's what it does.
That was the moment for you, the makeup for you, your body leading up to that. But it could be like, that's the thing is, that's why I struggle when people say things are safe and effective when we all don't know what each other's makeups are, how our routines, how we detoxing, how we eating. I think all those things matter. What kind of possible illnesses or diseases did you have before that your maybe body's fighting that you don't know that kicks up your autoimmune disease? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's why I don't understand the net negative. You don't put it in. You don't risk yourself doing those things, right? And that should just be something that's like, hey, when you go in, you know that what this is, right? You know that there could be risks. Like even just that extra check in the appointment, just being like, hey, just so you know, and this is what you need to do and where you need to go. And if they did that, I'd honestly be so much more, no, I wouldn't be so much more on board. I know that sounds weird, but I would definitely feel more on board with like people doing whatever they want. It's like, yeah, but they're not informed though. Like that's the thing that bugs me. They're not informed though. So it's like, yeah, they're saying yes to, oh, you're going to look so good. You're going to love it. That height, that like, and you're in the area and the environment, it feels good. And everyone, the marketing is intense. Like, girl, it's so funny that you said the neck thing because I'm 38. And so that is something that I've actually noticed. And I see it in like my grandmother. And so I'm like, oh my God. And then you say that, I'm like, I would be that person had I not known this stuff. That is where I'd be right now and be like, oh yeah, you're right. My neck is getting a little bit looser because and then I'm like, girly, you're 40. It should be, or no, I'm not yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, we round up sometimes, but
no, I'm 39
you know?
And we're getting there. And that's just the thing too. Now that I'm on this side of things, it's like, why can't we just age and not be hated on for, like, why do we always have to fix everything? And so it's so exhausting, because now it's like, I felt like I was so naive to the game, like to all of that stuff. And then that happened. So, and now that I'm on this side, it's just like, we can't catch a break no matter what we do.
Oh, no.
We really
You
can't.
do it, you get in trouble. You don't do it, you get in trouble. You're just like, what's the fucking point? So that's why I want people to do whatever they want, but I just want them to be informed. Like you said, maybe at that appointment, if she said, hey girl, you know that there's could be risk with this, especially off label. And like I said last time, so many people, yes, we do off label, but then they just act like it's no big deal. And it's like, that's even scarier, because there's absolutely no research on off label stuff. Right. So that worries me even more. No?
And if she would have said that, it would have been like, okay, yeah, maybe let me think about it so I can like do a little back end research. Anything.
What's wrong with coming back for point 2, right? Like, would have been like, okay, why don't you think about it? And if you still want it, come next time. But it's like, oh, you got to get the sale now. It's on sale now.
Get the sale. Here now. Get the points in the sale. So that's what happened. I got my 189 units of Dysport, and I walked out of that appointment like, this is going to be so great. Oh yeah, it was fucking amazing.
It was something.
So within a couple of days, here's what happened. This is the downfall, the start of my downfall. Within about 2 days, I started realizing like my voice was kind of raspy. And when I would shower, my neck was it was weak. It was like my whole neck. I would like wash my hair and look back, and like pulling my head back up, it was like, that is weird. Like my neck is weak. And okay, well, I just got a treatment. Maybe it's whatever. Who knows? I do photography. So we're in November. I'm doing a lot of photography at that time. I'm outside a lot. Like, okay, nope, seasonal allergies. Nope, it's because I've been like doing so much with my camera. I'm on the computer. I'm doing all this. That's all it is. That's all it is. No, it was the start of toxin spread. And so it starts to affect your vocal cords. It starts to affect, your surrounding muscles. I was weak and that kind of stuff. Fast forward to day 17. So this kept progressing, getting a little bit worse. Day 17 is when it was full blown systemic. So I remember I was sitting down watching TV with my husband, my kids. I was eating yogurt. I remember exactly what I was eating: yogurt with bananas in it. We were watching a show, and all of a sudden, like, I couldn't hear. It was just like, it went muffled, like all of a sudden underwater. And I'm like, I kind of sat up and I looked at my husband and I was like, hey. He's like, what? I'm like, something's weird. I feel like I can't hear. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, I just said it. I can't hear right. And then all of a sudden it was like, then my words wouldn't come out. And it was like, I'm like, something's happening. Like, something's going on.
Oh my God.
And he's like, are you going to pass out? Like, what's happening? I'm like, I don't know. So I got down on the ground because I started to like really panic, because I realized like I'm getting weak everywhere. I can't get my words out. I can't hear.
Hold yourself.
And then it's just like shit just started. It felt like a stroke. I was slurring. I couldn't get up. I had no strength. I was like, call 911. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, call 911. And so I just laid down and I was like, I don't think I can breathe. And he's like, I'm watching your chest. I was like, it feels like I have to remember and like make myself breathe. Otherwise I'm going to stop. And this is all slurry word. It sounded like I was drunk. Like I said, it really appeared like I was having some kind of stroke.
Yeah.
So he gets on the phone with dispatch and he's like, something's going on with my wife. All of a sudden she can't hear right. She got really weak. She's like, dizzy, nauseous. She has no body strength whatsoever. And so they're like, okay, we're going to send out a squad. So they come out there and they're asking, have you been drinking? What kind of drugs have you been doing? And I'm like, Jesus, I was just eating yogurt. I mean, I had a couple margaritas the night before, but not like this. We're not doing anything. We're just sitting.
Not my first rodeo.
Sunday. Yeah. So they do whatever they do. They start putting things on my chest to get readings and the oxygen, and they're just doing all the things to try to figure out what's going on with me. My husband said she feels like, and then I started doing the convulsing. So that was on where, if you look at my handle and you go check out that pinned video that I have, you will see what my body used to do several times a day after this stuff went systemic. It was horrible. Yeah. It was like, it looked like it was tremors or convulsing or seizure-like activity, but it's not seizure because I was fully conscious. And, but that was the beginning of my hell. And that was, I think it took about 12 to 13 months to really recover.
And
And
do you still have that video? You have that saved, but
yeah,
would you be able to send it to me?
yeah, I can send it
Okay.
to you. It's on
Okay.
my Instagram pinned.
Perfect.
So
And then I could just
where
put it
I,
in the episode too as well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
where
Okay.
I share the whole story. I show everyone what this looks like.
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
important to show.
Hey, I'm Ange. This is me before shit really hit the fan. I want to share with you all what Dysport injections for cosmetic use did to me. I considered myself to be a veteran user of products like Botox and Dysport since I've used them off and on for around 10 years. I'm going to be totally honest. I had no idea how these products truly worked until I was severely injured by them. On December 3rd, 2023, exactly 17 days after 189 units of Dysport was injected into my face and neck for freaking wrinkles, my husband had to call 911 because it looked like I was having a stroke. My symptoms only became worse from there. I wasn't able to drive for the month of December and some of January. I now have several residual side effects that affect me on a daily basis. That includes heart issues, brain fog, shortness of breath, tremors, which make it difficult to swallow, breathe, and speak. Basically, my entire nervous system is totally out of whack. I am improving, but I'm definitely not the same person I was prior to the last time I went in for injections. I'm about to show you what Dysport toxicity looks like when it enters your central nervous system. After nearly 3 months of pleading to the medical industry to listen to me, since I had several of the severe side effects listed right on the damn box warning, which lined up with toxin migration, I have now been officially diagnosed with Dysport toxicity, also known as systemic botulism or widespread toxin effect. And then lasted for 2 hours. And this just started about 2 minutes ago. Can't open my eyes all the way. I had the head aura where like just feels like a dizziness, not a normal dizziness, but my heart spiked up and then now I'm having these damn tremors again. It doesn't feel like I can swallow. Like dizzy over and over again. I don't feel good. Yeah. Head feels like it's buzzing. All right, my heart rate's starting to come back down, which is part of the process. Feel nauseous again. Feels like I can't swallow. I don't want to do this. I'm calm, just frustrated. I was told that this is absolutely Dysport toxicity. And my body's still just trying to figure it out and work it out. My heart spiked to 172. It's starting to calm down. Lastly, one of the worst things besides this happening in the first place is that there's a treatment called antitoxin. The CDC holds it. It's super hard to get. Basically, it can prevent the toxin from causing more harm, preventing the irreversible internalization of the toxin into the neurons and so on and so on. That's for a whole different video. But because my symptoms weren't recognized by the responsible party and I was dismissed by my entire medical team, I never had the chance at stopping this toxicity in its tracks. I was literally left to suffer with no one advocating for me while knowing all along it was due to these injections. That's my story.
But it was hell. It was like, it wasn't just these episodes that I would have. It was, I don't know. Do you know what like derealization is? Where you're kind of, it's like a disconnect, body brain disconnect. So for about for about 3 months, it didn't feel like I was in my own body. It felt like I was in a 2D video game.
Yeah.
I was like, nothing felt real. It was just total derealization. It was like I was in a world that wasn't my own. I wasn't connected to it. It was like, it was the scariest, darkest, ugliest feeling I've ever felt. I couldn't drive for about 2 months because I would have those episodes multiple times a day. And it's like I would go weak. My heart rate would spike up. I would do the convulsing and that would just happen throughout the day. And it's like, what the hell? So back to when it all hit the fan.
Yeah.
we go to the ER and, you know, they start taking vitals, this, that, and the other. They basically said, you're having a panic attack. You're having anxiety.
I fucking hate this answer so much. Why is this always the same answer with all of you? I'm sorry.
I'm like, wait a minute. I have experience with anxiety. I've had situational anxiety in the past. This is not anxiety. You don't stop being able to talk and move because you might feel frozen.
For sure.
Oh my God, I can't make a decision right now.
Yeah. There's physical ailments, but not like you have to remind your body how to breathe. That's not a mental
that's
thing.
Not anxiety. That's not anxiety. So they gave me Ativan. So they pumped me full of Ativan. So they drug me while I'm poisoned. So that's not a good mix.
Perfect.
So then I'm just like still doing the like you know, just like completely out of it. So I'm like, okay, cool.
But you're happy at least.
Yeah. No, I was terrified because like, is this gonna
is that what their mind thinks? Like they're just like, oh, we'll give her some Ativan, she'll just be happy. It's like, cool, thanks for the support.
That'll calm her right down. And it didn't. They just I was just drugged and I was still experiencing everything. So after, you know, a couple hours in the ER, I was finally released because they couldn't find anything. There was nothing to be found. They did EKGs, they did scans, they did all the things. They couldn't find anything. I mean, it really looked like something was wrong, but because they couldn't put it on paper, it's like, well, it must just be anxiety. We'll send you home. So I go home and I'm like, I am like, it was just a mind fuck because I'm thinking, I know I just went through that.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is not anxiety. I was sitting there watching TV. There was nothing, you know, there was nothing scary happening, nothing.
Not even watching a scary movie. Like, what the fuck?
No, nothing. And so then the next day I woke up having a panic attack. I hardly was able to sleep that night. I did finally fall asleep, but I woke up in a panic attack. Like, what was that? What just happened? Something's going on with me. Yeah. And then I'm like, what if I die? This, that, and the other. So then that's when these panic attacks started. That's part of it. It wasn't like, oh God, that was so scary. No, it was like, it was, but at the same time, my nervous system was shutting down over and over again. And so dark doom and panic, that's actually a side effect from widespread toxin effect. It's like you can't even get yourself under control. Yeah. So woke up, had a panic attack. That was fine. Okay, got over it. And I'm like, okay, maybe it is just panic. Fine. We're just gonna roll with it. Yeah. So then that was the second day. I was out of it. I was like falling asleep all day. I was lethargic. I was feeling real weird. I just wasn't myself. Yeah. Day 3. So this is now December 3rd, 2023.
Always around Christmas. Fuck.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
You guys always around Christmas. What is this?
Always around something big, of course. So, but I got my injections like in November, and like I said, it took 17 days for it to really travel into my central nervous system. So then December 3rd, I believe it was 3rd or 5th. I can't remember actually. Maybe it was the 5th. I took a client. I do hair and I do photography. Oh, cool. So I was with a client and I was feeling funky still, but enough to get through. Like, all right, I don't feel right, but we're going to push through. So I'm doing her hair. I get her all applied and it starts happening again. The hearing, the heart rate, the weakness. My husband happened to be home. Oh, and I work from home. So I went over to the stairs and I was like, babe, DJ, I was like, please come here. And he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, it's happening again. And he's like, Jesus. What? And I'm like, and then I go down. I go down right there. And I'm like, oh my God, starts happening again. My client's freaking out. She's like, Ange, what's happening? And I'm like, it's like a whole thing. I don't know what's happening.
I actually don't know. Apparently this is anxiety. So
I don't know what's happening.
Hope you don't have anxiety because this is your future. Fuck.
So then this slurring goes and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, you're just going to need to leave that on for 40 minutes. Go home and rinse it. I gotta go because I don't know what's happening. So my husband, we go back to the ER. And this time it's like, no, something's going on. You're not going to you don't just start collapsing midday. No,
not for anxiety.
This doesn't happen. So go back in, they do all the things again. My mom gets involved. So she comes up and all this, that, and the other. And she's like, is it from those injections you get? Could that happen? Because like when the first episode happened, apparently on the back end, she started doing all the research.
Of course.
Like putting all the symptoms in, trying to figure it out. She's like, what if it's that? What if it's this Botox shit? What if it's this Dysport shit? She's like, could it be that? And I'm like, what? No, it didn't even cross my mind at the moment. I was like, that was like a couple weeks ago. She's like, when was your appointment? And then I pull up my phone and I'm like, oh, that was about 17 days ago or so. And she's like, okay. She's like, let's start asking about it. She goes, I read about this. And I'm like, you read about this? She's like, yes. So, and that's where it all started. Hey, I got these injections. Here's how many I got. Here's where I got them. Here's what we found. Here's what my mom found. They're like, oh, we've never heard of that before. No, we've never seen this before. I don't think so. We'll look into it. Like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. And again, we run more tests, more things. At this point, they're like, all right, something's wrong with you, but we don't know what it is. So then they admit me. So I get transferred to a bigger hospital, and then I'm admitted for like 3 days. They do everything. Jesus. I'm talking MRIs. They did where they put all the leads all over your head to check for seizures. We did more blood tests. We did more, x-rays of everything that you could possibly take an image of. And again, they basically say that we can see something's happening. We can see that it's not voluntary, but we're going to call it FND, functional neurological disorder. And I'm like, sure. What? So I all of a sudden have a neurological disorder. I just woke up with it. Like, what do you?
Yeah, like, I just ate yogurt and
yeah. They're like, well, this can happen if you've had a traumatic past, and this could happen because of this. I was like, could this happen because of having too many units of Dysport? Could it just be that? They're like, no, we've never seen that before. And so again, it was, no, it's not going to be the injections. It's, you have FND. And I'm like, so then I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm however old I was. This is a couple years, or almost 2 years ago. So 30, I would have been 38. I would have turned 38 by now. So I'm thinking, I have a neurological disorder. So now what? So then I'm like starting to research that. And that's not, there's two different things. When you get diagnosed with FND, you either actually have it and it is a living hell, or it's doctors that just label you with it because they can't figure it out.
It's like fibromyalgia. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is a taboo diagnosis because so many doctors do not understand how to truly diagnose that and what to truly look for. There's usually always something else unless you truly, truly, truly have it. And it's not something that you can't just throw that around, but they do. They really. No.
And that's more like rare, would you say? Like that was more rare than probably women. Like, sorry,
I would say
that's rare more than women getting Botox. That's what I find is crazy.
Right.
Like you said you just woke up with it. Like, right. If it's not, is it genetic? Like, what did I do? Like, where's your explanation to prove to me that that's what I have and that the Botox isn't it? That's just like, I don't know. I want to flip it back on them. Like, prove me that it isn't.
Yeah. Well, and that's just the thing. Even with FND, it's not something you can like easily prove. That's why they want to throw it on things that, well, that kind of matches. We'll just give you that. And I remember I told one of my friends, she's in the medical field, and I told her that, and she's like, you don't want that diagnosis because they're not listening to you.
Yeah.
They're not listening to you.
Shit, it's one of those. Fuck.
Yeah. So, and she's seen a lot of that, and she's like, no, they're not listening, and you don't want that on your record because here's what's going to happen. They give that to people that they just can't figure it out. And then it's looked at as now you need a psych valve. Now you need mental health. Now you need all these other things. And I actually was told that by one person that it's time to look into psychiatric help. And I'm like, what? Now I need psychiatric help? So now I'm going to fast forward 3 months forward. So this was hell. Like I said, the first 3 months were the absolute worst. I thought I was going to die. Probably about 3 times. There were multiple ER visits to follow this hospital say. There was a lot of downs, like really, really, really scary shit. And a good 3 times I thought like, this is going to be it. Like, I'm not going to make it through. Jesus. So 3 months forward. So we're still trucking along. We're still trying to get answers. I finally find a neurologist after specialist tests that is like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and call this adverse reaction to botulinum toxin sequel. So basically, yeah, it could be FND. Yeah, there are some things that kind of look like that. And this didn't go without a fight. I was sat there for over an hour arguing with this lady, bringing up all my paperwork, showing her all the videos, bringing up all my history. Like, I never had any of this. Like, I have a good health bill. Like, this isn't... Yeah. this is
Doesn't make
random.
sense.
This is out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
I go, the only thing that led up to this was 189 units of Dysport. 17 days later, my world has completely crumbled.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just 17 days later. It was a burn. It was the neck weakness. It was the hoarseness in my voice. It was like feeling tired, feeling not, you know, it was a slow burn, and then bam, it happened. So then she's like, I guess it could be that. It was kind of just like, yeah, I guess that could trigger that, you know? And I brought her in studies. At this point, I'd found Gretch.
Oh,
so
good. What a queen.
I think it was like a month or so when I found the group. And then I started becoming active, posting. I'm like, I need help. So like, what the fuck is happening to me? I need help. I kept posting in that group. And then, because I was in the FND groups, I was in this group, I was in that group. And I'm like, no, this is matching. This matches what these other people are going through.
This is
exactly what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And she reached out to me and she's like, okay, can I message you? And I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah, please do.
So she messaged me and we started going back and forth. I started doing lots of sharing with her and she's like, oh my God. Like she knew right away. Like I happened to be a case that was like, it was pretty severe. I probably could have used that antitoxin, but nobody was going to give it to me.
No, that's, I've heard like one of the rarest things. Like, I don't know if I ever know many people with this that have got it. I think I've heard maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
At the most.
That's what's rare, is getting the antitoxin when you need it. That's what's rare.
And to the point, it's like so safeguarded. And it's like, but the thing that makes you sick is so well accepted. But the antitoxin to it is fucking protected and locked down. If that doesn't say something, and that's not common knowledge. Also, I do want to give you, and I hope you do give yourself grace. I don't think you're a naive girl. I think you're like everybody else. You got preyed upon by this industry, right? Like you should have been told. And then maybe if you're like, oh, I could still have this happen, fuck it. Then, okay, maybe you can have a little hate for yourself or shame. But I really truly feel like every single one of you, I understand that because like I feel so blessed I got this information, but it could happen to anybody. And none of us.
It can happen to anybody.
I'm only blessed because people like you and Gretchen were brave enough to speak out in that, or I'd be in the same position. That's why I always thank you guys. But like, not naive, like that, just normal girl. Like we said, we're just normal girls here.
We're just, maybe I don't give myself enough credit because there's so much guilt behind all of that and like everything that I had gone through. And like I said, I'm 17 months out now, and I would say I'm probably 90%.
Yeah.
But I'm not the same. I don't think you're ever the same after that shit happens. I don't process medications the same. I'm not as sensitive as I was when this first happened, but still it's like, there are just things in my life. I am completely different. I miss my old life. I miss who I used to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll ever get back to 100, but I'm not, even a year ago was still bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very fair. And it's like, I totally get that. But I think people forget too, there's like the physical healing, but then there's the mental healing because you didn't stop doing it necessarily because you just, I don't mean this in a rude way. You just decide to stop doing it. It's because you quote unquote had to because this hit you in the face. So then you still have to deal with, okay, what does my life look like after now? I've had maybe I've had this for a little bit. Now I have to also face the maybe aging part that I didn't think I had to face yet. Or like you said, like the inevitable. But I think a lot of people want to delay it because fucking life is great. We want to be here. And I think aging confronts us to being like, bitch, time is moving. And as you age, I swear it's going faster and faster and faster. So I think for us, it's like almost gaslighting ourselves that age isn't coming and these things aren't happening. But then, so you also have to deal with that. I talk about that with the women with their breast implants too. It's like, well, you wanted those and you had to get them out because you're sick, but then you have to deal with the mental explant of not having those anymore and being a completely new person and falling in love with the person you are now. Or turning into be, which sometimes is fucking hard. It's hard as a woman in this industry too. Like you said, like now they're getting babies, like we're millennials, like elder millennials. So when we grew up, was it same with you? Was it like 50, 60-year-old rich women? I don't know. I'm from Canada. So only rich women did this. And now it's like 20-year-olds are doing this preventatively. That's not us. That's someone seeing money and exploiting people's insecurities. And not everyone does it because they're insecure. Don't get me wrong. But it doesn't matter if it's cosmetic or medical. It can still affect you. And it doesn't matter if you go to Backyard Betty or you go to the best surgeon in the entire world. It doesn't matter if you have it in an off-label place or in a labeled or FDA approved or Health Canada approved place. Everyone's different and everyone should be given the respect to know that this could happen. And it's not fear mongering. It's okay. I'm sorry. What I hate about this fear mongering thing, it's the fucking truth. I'm sorry
it's
that
the
the truth might
it's
be
not
scary.
Fear. It's the truth. Like I honestly, it's like I said, if I had any information, if I would have seen people's stories, if I would have found that group before any of this happened, I would have stepped back. It's not talked about.
Nope.
The risks aren't talked about. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They're going to protect it. And these doctors and these providers, they're going to just gaslight the shit out of you. Why would they want to admit that this stuff is more common than it is? And that group, the Botox side effect support group, there are, I think, around 40,000 people in that group now. So we have this whole pocket of people. They're just lying.
Exactly.
And we all
For
have
clout.
we have this one thing in common. Everything was fine. We got injections and then everything wasn't fine. It's like, oh, what if that's hormones? What if that's aging? There's a burn. It doesn't happen like that.
Why isn't it happening to those that don't have Botox at this age then if it's aging?
Right.
Like, should I then just be afraid? Okay, so then what should I be afraid of expecting then? Like okay, if it's not that and it's just aging and hormones, okay, well, I'm aging and hormone changes, so what should I be expecting then? Like, what are you talking about? So now every woman should just be fearful, even if they take Botox or not, that this shit might happen because you're aging? Or could we just say maybe it's the product?
Maybe it's the product. Maybe the product is actually spreading and that black box warning that is on the label is true. And it's
weird. I don't know about you guys in the States, but we have to like very much label our stuff here in Canada. So, and I think that's what I said in the last episode too. Like, okay, so are you telling me, like, is one argument in the comment section, which I'm sure you get a lot of, which I'd like to talk to you about too, is like, well, there's a lot of stuff that has a black box warning on it. I'm like, and I'm sure people get told that. I'm not saying that it shouldn't exist. I'm not saying that people, what they should and should not do. What I'm saying is that I would just like the girlies of the world, men of the world, to know that you could have an adverse reaction to Botox and it could feel like you're fucking dying. And there's a support group out there to be there for you, to hold your hand. And most of them are going to say it's time, unfortunately. And so that's all we want to do. That's all we are doing. And you're trying to heal from this. I am trying to advocate. You are advocating, but like my main purpose is advocacy and supporting you guys. You're trying to heal. And this is part of your healing journey. And you got motherfuckers in the comment section being like, da, 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 da. And like, so when you started speaking out, you were very early into it as well. And you were going through it. Like, I don't think people understand, like you also, like I said, you're physically healing, you're mentally healing, and then you're dealing with these haters in the comment section. What was that kind of like mentally to go through? Sorry to bring you back into that.
No, it's still like a whirlwind because I have to take so many breaks from it because that my only purpose is to share my story so people have information so that they don't have to feel like they're dying however many times and try to raise their children, and their children are witness to this, and you're spending so much time in doctors' offices and ERs. Like, this isn't for fun. You got people that are like, oh, just, for clout and for money. I'm like, I wish I was getting paid for this.
No shit. Like, $0.
The only thing that I'm getting out of this is there are a few people that are like, holy shit, you stopped me in my tracks. Thank you for sharing. Or I'm no longer going to get this done. I had no idea after I listened to your story and I did my own research. Now I understand. That's what I get out of it is the people that actually want to listen. Yeah. The people that aren't like, oh, you're getting paid. Who am I getting paid for? I have like 3,500. Who's paying me? 3,500 followers?
I also live in Canada. Half of that's going to my government. Okay, so I'm not really getting paid much. Like I don't get paid for TikTok or YouTube or Spotify. That's my favorite. I got that one too.
I haven't made a dime. For money. So it's like, and it is. And then you got like real trolls like, well, tattoos are toxic. Well, this and, oh, you got a nose ring. And it's like, shut the fuck up. We're not talking about tattoos. We're not talking about piercings. Or what am I trying to say? They are not the same thing. They are not comparable by any means. You cannot compare a live active bio agent to tattoo ink. There is no way that's comparable. So it's like,
and I think we'll say too, like, sure, tattoos would come with risks. Was I aware of any risk when I got tattoos? No. Did I look into it? No. And I think that's why I'm so aggressive about informed consent too. Have I stopped myself in my tracks now that I know, and I will do better research to who's doing it, what kind of ink? Absolutely. And then I'll weigh those pros and cons and I'll make my decision. Further to that, you make that decision and something goes wrong, you're still going to be supported and loved because you still made that choice and you're still hurting. So it's like,
oh yeah,
I just think that's my favorite. Well, that was a one comment on one of the one girls. Well, then she took Valium. they told her she was having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And to take it.
Yeah. You have your super righteous people that are like, well, what did you think was going to happen? I was like, well, I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't know.
Not fucking that.
Yeah, not that.
Really,
like,
I was just looking for a flat forehead. What the fuck do you
right.
think?
I was just looking for like, you know, but then now I look at it and I'm like, you know, I am kind of glad that I can look at people and they know exactly what I'm thinking.
100%.
I like that.
Because I'm just like, I'm an angry face and I'm just kidding, but like it's the same. It's just like it's a part of you, right? It's a part of your story, and that's what I've just had to really work hard on reprogramming. And I have to thank you guys so much, like I said, for solidifying like, hey, it's not fucking worth it, man. Like learn to love that shit. And so I always joke like, okay, when I look at my face and I look at beauty standards, I'll just try to reframe where my head's at. So this like these 11s, well, yeah, I work in cannabis and Excel all day. I'm like this, like what the fuck is actually happening? And at the same time, I'm like, you're Harry Potter, bitch. Don't get rid of that. Right.
I call those what the fuck lines.
Exactly. And it's just like,
because you're always looking like, what the fuck?
Fuck?
That's what I call them.
Exactly. And like at the time, it's like, as I'm doing things. And one thing that I really like that Terry Fox brought up that was on the show is the interpersonal relationship. Like you said, where you can see people's faces. And like, I'm a stoner. Half my girlfriends are stoners. We laugh all the time. Like we're so funny. And when I see us all laughing in our laugh lines, I just think like, how blessed am I? I just repatterned my brain to be like, how blessed am I that I get to laugh? Because I know some people are going through it. And I've gone through my seasons where I haven't been able to laugh. And yeah, my face might carry everything, but I've been through a lot. And I want people to see that. I want them to feel comfortable that you're safe here, no matter who you are. And I'm not saying that people that mask that don't, but I think when they see, when they see my like smiles and my like, I don't know, I just feel like there's, like you said, it's a different part that you're showing of yourself that people don't usually are too afraid to see. And I just want to lead by example. Every time I think about doing it, I'm like, think about if you had a 15-year-old daughter right now and she is getting hammered with this preventative Botox and she's looking at you, and mom's, no shade, this is probably going to hit a little bit harder, and I'm doing that. What am I telling her?
She's going to be 15 next month.
And is that something that you think about? Sorry if
No, yeah, it is something I think about. And this is something I thought about before I got sick. It was like, when something like this happens, you start thinking there's like these moments that they're actually stopping in time and you don't come back to it until you're here. And so like, there was this one day where I thought like, my daughter was laughing. She must've been like, I don't know, 11 or 12. She's laughing. Her face is moving, her, you know, all that. And I'm like, mine don't do that. I look different than my kid. Like I'm starting to get that, like that stoic, just serious, like everything down here moves, but nothing up here moves. I'm like, that started. And I'm thinking like, I don't know if I like that. And then it was over. It just passed and it was done. And then I thought about it later on, like that came back to me. And so, yeah, it's a huge valid point. Like, I don't want my kids to do that shit. I don't want my kids to think something's wrong with them and then go out and have to alter themselves or take those kind of risks because society said like, you shouldn't move your face. What the fuck? We're paralyzing large groups of our muscles. We're doing that for a look and it doesn't make any sense.
And people don't know what it's going to look like down the road. I think that's my biggest scare. Like, girl, as millennials, like eyebrows, I still have 90s eyebrows. They're trying to come back. I didn't go thicker and got microblading because I was like, listen, eyebrow changes.
I got microblading
too much. Yes. But see, I see it. And that's where I freak out and be like, what if the trend changes and my 90s brows come back and now I've got too much? But that's where it's just like, when we start living those trends and those beauty standards, they start like having a chokehold on ourselves and everybody else around them. And for me, I just really had to self-evaluate. And so cool. I used to be a photographer as well. I still do it on the hobby as a side. It's something that's like I replaced photography with my mic. But it is something too, I actually had to take a moment back because I don't know if you remember and how long you've been doing it, but it was just like, I was doing photography before Facebook. And so it was like really just digital prints and what you were given. And like, and then all of a sudden social media came and all this extra editing came around. And I had a really hard moment as an artist thinking and editing people because they'd be like, can you edit this out? And I would like, okay. And I would do like a little bit, but then I started feeling really gross because I'm like, am I valid? And I'm not saying this to anybody else. This is your own fucking journey. This is mine. Am I validating those insecurities? Now, you got a big pimple on your face and you're doing boudoir. Okay, I get you, girly. Like, I'll sort you out. You got some dark eyes because you couldn't sleep last night for sure. But please don't ask me to like shrink your face and enhance your boobs and shrink your body because I feel then, am I validating your insecurity by doing that? So I had to like walk away from photography for a bit before I could really be like, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? What am I trying to do? And then now it's just like, if I do it, it's like, I'll change the lighting and maybe I'll do a little like, but I'm not going to like AI change your face. That's to each their own. But then I was just like, what? I feel like one thing we got to do is start reevaluating and looking inside of how we're validating some of this stuff in society. Yeah. What's our contribution to that? And I think that's probably where you were feeling. And now like being through that risk, you're like, oh my God, it's really not worth it. Right?
Oh my God, no, not when you're struggling to breathe. Not like, is it worth it? Like you're struggling to breathe for wrinkle prevention, for a frozen face, for and things. And we do know what it looks like. Let's look at some of these stars now where it's pillow face and they've caused muscle atrophy for years and years and years, and they're just mush, and then they've got to fill it with filler, and then they look different. It's like, I don't know. I think instead of having that puffy, wide, whatever look that is, I think I'd take my wrinkles any day.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Outside of being sick, even if it never happened, it's like now that I'm starting to notice the shit, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we? People are walking around looking like masks, and it's weird.
Yes. And I just feel like I'm such a cartoon character. And so it's just like, I wonder what I would look like without those. Like, because I feel like I'd still be this expressive person, but then it's like, but what your eyebrows are like, whatever, to each their own. But to your point, like, I also wonder, it's like body dysmorphia and face dysmorphia is like a whole other ball game. And then again, like, are we, by doing those things, reaffirming our inner selves, like, yes, you are you do need these things, right? Are we constantly doing that? And is there ways that before we make the decision to inject, that we can try and work with those brain patterns and just see, like, what are you doing it for, right? Is this something that's going to turn into addiction? I'm an addictive person, man. Like, I can't even have a fucking candy that I like, and I will just hold on, right? So I just like, that's what my worry is. I was just like, girl, once you stop, you're not going to be able to stop. And then to your point, what does that look like down the road? And we have seen it, but these celebrities can go and pay and take 6 months off to restructure their entire faces, like Lindsay Lohan and fucking oh my God, Shania Twain. Who else? There's just celebrities that don't even look the same anymore. Kelly Osbourne. There's something going on, but those people can afford all of those things, right? And I think we kind of know that with celebrities, but now it's everyday people and filters too. I think filters are doing a huge injustice to the world and like to the young people, right? And you as a mom of a 15-year-old, I'm sure you're, now that she's probably coming into where she's being more aware of herself, you're probably like, oh shit, like I can see where they're attacking her already. Not attacking.
Oh yeah. I just, that's the thing. I don't ever want her to feel like she needs to change herself to fit in with this world. This society makes us feel bad right out the gate. You can't even live. You really can't. It's like, change this, do this, improve this. It's all about making money. And I will admit, you know, when I was forced to stop doing this tox, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to look like? When all that movement started coming back, I'm like, oh my God, because I started doing it for a reason, you know, and when it was looking natural and good, I did feel a little bit better about my appearance. I'm like, oh, no wrinkles.
Perfect.
But at what cost? Again, at what cost? It's botulinum toxin. It is the world's deadliest substance. Like, what are we doing? Why are we putting that on our face? And then now going down this rabbit hole, like, you can do so many other things. There's lasers, there's facial taping, there's different kinds of massage and yoga you can do for your face, red light therapy. There's so many things that you can do to still prevent and keep yourself looking refreshed. Because as a woman, we do want to look our best. We don't want to look tired. We don't want to have sagging, wrinkly skin. Okay, you know, that's fair, but there are safer ways. There's safer ways. And then at the end of the day, like, what the fuck is wrong with looking your age? What is wrong with that?
It's a privilege to be this. I know people that have not lived past 20, 19, you know, like, that's social privilege to age. Sorry, that's probably been repeated on the show a few times, but I don't think we think about that, right? We just get caught up, and it's just little assist, and it's to make us feel good, and it's empowerment and self-care, and I'm not disregarding that. It is. But I think it would be really cool if it was like sexy to like care about your inner self and what, you know, like we go back to Chinese medicine or what you're doing on your face. Is there ways that you can like straight up, thinnest lip on planet Earth. Okay. Now big lips are it, right? So I'm like, how am I going to combat this? Cause there ain't no way I'm getting injections in my lips because I'm scared of needles. I know, ironic, but we know different needles, but I'm terrified of needles, right? Terrified of needles. And I'm afraid that it would look like, this is just a personal thing. I feel like if I got anything, I'd be more insecure if people know I got something and I was insecure about it. Does that make sense?
That's so fair,
like, I have such small tits that if I came out with big boobs, like people would know and I'd be like, don't look at them, right? Even though that's all I want is big boobs. But I know myself, right? So like, I think for me too, it's just like, if we could just care about like, changing our face. That's what I was saying. So like with my lips, when I smile, my lip would disappear and I hated that. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I started actually actively thinking about where my lip placement was. And then I started being like, when I'm smiling, I would like flatten my lip versus like let it go all the way up. Like I would actively think about that now, and just naturally, because our face changes, I'm actually getting this little like lip flip here that I've never actually had, but it's just because I'm actually physically thinking about how I'm holding. Same with my eyes. I didn't realize that one of my eyes, this one would close more and this one would go up. So this one eyebrow would be, and I like seen it in the gym one day, and let me tell you, I almost shit a brick. If I was around the wrong people, I would have fucking gone for Botox, because I was like, what is going on? But it was just the way I was holding my face, and I didn't realize that one side was doing it more. So then I started being conscious of it and being like, okay, how am I sleeping? Am I drinking water in a day? I just wish those initial steps, and like, because I feel like once I started doing that, and then I found you guys, it was like, I'd rather just pay money for therapy to just get over my insecurities. This is a me personal thing, right? And I just wish that that was like cooler, is just being like, it's okay to not love everything about yourself. It's okay to want to feel better, but just at what point and what risk? And financially, please don't ruin yourself trying to change yourself for someone else's true standard.
Right.
Because like, sure, maybe we all want this, but there's a new trend that's going to come up, and everyone's going to want that. So just make sure it's a trend and something that you truly want, I think, for sure too.
Yeah, I agree. I really do.
And is there, how are you feeling now? So I know you said you're about 90%. Is it more like the mental healing of it, the working through what happened, the like social bullshit online?
Yeah, it really is. So like I said, about 90% back to my old self. So, and I used to love to drink. I used to be very social. I used to host parties, and I probably make one of the best margaritas ever in the world. So everyone knows that.
Perfect.
I really don't drink anymore. It's very occasionally. I finally gotten back to the point where it's like, if I want an adult beverage, I will do 1, 2 max. My body just doesn't handle things the way it used to. And that's okay. I don't need to be buzzed up or drunk, but I definitely miss my lifestyle. I miss how I used to be, but I'm getting back there. But I probably will never get back there all the way. I just won't.
Yeah.
I feel that I have PTSD from my body being so unpredictable for such a long time, and the gaslighting by medical professionals. It was like my OBGYN was like, Ange, we know that a cosmetic Botox can kill people. It has. We know that. And then you have your neurologist saying, we've never seen this before. So it's like,
how does my vagina doctor know this?
How does my vagina doctor know that can happen? But the actual neurologist who was saying, oh no, you have a neurological issue, doesn't know that all these symptoms could be from that one thing. But I forgot where I was going with that.
What if they sign like an NDAs or something like that? Like, it's almost like they just like block it out, right? It's like, maybe, it's like when chiropractors, for example, speak out about vaccines. And I'm not saying everyone's right or wrong or the other, but people are like, stay in your lane. It's like, but what if that lane is making money? Okay. Yeah.
Like, what if that lane is actually wrong and more people you just don't know it?
Or you're blinded, right? Like, I don't think everybody, and I don't think everyone does it in malice by any means. I just think that this, like, like some guests have said, oh, well, I've done it for 10 years and I was in the industry and I never had seen this. And it's like, well, maybe people are too afraid to say it, or, right. It's not that it doesn't happen, but
they're going to the ER and they're being gaslit. They're not really going back to their med spa saying, hey, I went to my med spa and she was like, I've never seen this before. So that actually happens too. And I was like, what is your protocol for widespread toxin effects? She's like, you go to your doctor. Like, she was so useless. I swear to God, I lost all the respect I ever had for this lady. And I actually really liked her. I used to do their photography for the whole med spa and all that stuff. And I thought she was so sweet and so nice. But then something bad happened to me at her hand and she was no help at all. And it was just like, wow, if you would have just like went to bat for me, it would have been a whole different story. But she's just like, well, I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know. And it's like,
go to your doctor.
You don't have a protocol? You don't have a protocol. So you inject this for a living and you don't know what could happen if it goes wrong. And you just don't know.
But
it's
everything's
like,
fine.
That shit's crazy. That's crazy to me.
It really does. And I think that's what locks people into not believing it's true. Because they're like, well, injectors and all these people don't do it. It's like, but they won't listen when we do report it. Even the last gal said she had to fight to get her side effect even registered. And her injector's like, oh, I'll do it, and never ends up doing it. And it's like,
No.
well, that's the problem. That's the thing. You report to the people. If the people aren't reporting it in, of course people aren't going to hear about it. And no offense to you people listening, love all you, but there's some people that are assholes. And if you continue doing that stuff, it, what is that? Disempowers people from wanting to speak out, because it's like, you're already going through it. I don't need you to tell me that what I am and am not experiencing. Cool. That's not your experience. Move on. Say, I'm sorry for your experience. This didn't happen to me. If you want to share like other side of the story, sure. But that's it. End the gaslighting there and walk on. You don't need to be in the comment section fighting tooth and nail.
And it's just crazy. If somebody smoked their whole life and ended up with lung cancer, we'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You would be like, well, you did it to yourself. Well, didn't you know? Well, this, that, and there. No, it doesn't. I 20 years. That's like, what is wrong with you people? Like, you cannot just because you like that thing and you don't want that to be true doesn't mean that I'm lying. It means that you have this thought process and this belief around that one thing. And I'm challenging your belief now, because I get that all the time. Still, it's like I said, there is a PTSD that comes with it, because my trust for professionals and for people, and even for my own body, it's like, oh my God. So that's something that I'm still trying to work through, is when now the dust has settled, what I'm left with and that experience, how that changed me. And that's forever.
And you don't know, and I'm not trying to like scare you, but you know this from being in the group. You don't know though. Like, you don't know that you're fully healed until like something could happen. It could be months out and maybe you tried something new. Or like I've seen girls that maybe have gone to like the chiropractor or something. Like, who would have even thought that going to the chiropractor would affect something in your face? But and I'm not trying to scare anybody. Please go to the proper places and the right girlies. I'll give that information. But it's just like, one thing I've noticed is that you guys too still don't even know, because no one's researched this, so they can't say like I think one of the girls said like, oh, it should be out of your body in X amount of weeks, and it's like, okay, well, it's how many months later and these things are still happening. So it's like, what are you talking about? I just wish people, even if they don't believe it, would just not comment.
When
it's
that
like,
toxin adheres to that nerve ending, that's a permanent action. That's not just like metabolizes out and goes away. And so when that goes systemically, when that goes into your central nervous system and goes haywire and starts attaching to things,
it's going to do damage.
Fucked. And that's the bottom line. It's like, we go in and we get these injections, and those injectors rely on that toxin staying local. That's not always the case. That doesn't always happen. There is also where it kind of builds up in your system too. So it's like, you can go and get injections for 5 years and be okay, but it might be your 6th year where your body can't handle it anymore.
Yep. And to the point, how long are you going to have to do this though? Like, I seen another, it's just kind of like they were talking about lip filler. Like, if you fill up and then it disintegrates, like, where's that skin going? So it's the same thing. It's not even
disintegrating. It's just spreading.
We
know now that filler doesn't dissolve and metabolize. It just spreads.
And it expands with water too, doesn't it? It like absorbs water too, right? So it's just like, again, we can see, and I just love when there's millions of people in the world. Okay, how about how many people are actually taking this product first? Let's not say everybody in the world, because I'm not a part of that trial. I didn't take anything, and I get that. But I think at the end of the day, we just want people to know that. We just want them to have this nugget of information. So if you're a girly and you're like, these bitches are lying, whatever, fine. That's your opinion. You may have that opinion and that's all you. But then you have this nugget now. And I actually like, this sounds terrible. Sometimes it's better to piss people off that way, because they're more likely to hold on to that information. And then, like I was saying in the comment section, I hope that some of these haters don't ever experience what they're gaslighting these persons. Like this one today in Never Talks' comments, she was just like, well, that never happened to me. It's never been seen on the news, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I would just like to know where the thought process is of, I'll believe it if it's on the news, but real life people are telling me it's not. I have no skin in this game. I don't make money on my podcast. I don't, like, this isn't getting me clout. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just actually doing it because we want people to have this nugget. So when they're pissed off, I hope that they hold that nugget. And then, God forbid something fucking happens. I'm not wishing that. But when it does, I just hope that they hold on to this so that they have somewhere to go. So they could be like, you know what, girls, you're right. And thank you for doing this, because unfortunately, I feel like it will happen a lot more often than people think. And I just think it's bad karma to gaslight someone's personal experience. That's just my take.
I know I'm going to be the first thing that people think about when something like this happens to them, especially if they were a hater in my comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all right, cool. Good luck. Good luck to you. I know that I will come to your mind the first time something goes wrong with these injections.
And guess what? I won't be gaslighting you. I'll be here to support you with loving arms. So just like, that's what I think about the energy you were putting out in the world in these comment sections. It's like, Hey, if you want to
Well,
show
and
up
then
that
I'm
way,
still accused of using it. Like I'm
that's
still
my favorite
accused.
of you. You're like,
They still,
what?
they're in the comments. They're like, you're still doing it. No, 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 no. The last time I touched it was November of 2023. No. And like facial training, like you just talked about that.
Yep.
Same thing with me. Like if I'm really going, like you're going to see it all over my face. But if I'm just like having a normal conversation and talking, I don't move my face that much. It's like if I'm really going about something, then I'll get expressive. But
Exactly.
so
This
I
is
mean,
what the podcast is my downfall. Just kidding.
they'll see it, yeah, they'll see my face throughout the podcast where it's like a lot of times I'll just be normal, and then you'll see when I get riled up because all my wrinkles come out. So.
And like, I just want to turn around and be like, okay, so you're jealous that I can have a face that looks like I have Botox without having taken it. Like, what is the point of this? Even if there is an influencer, I don't remember, a couple years ago, where her high actually fucking like whole side of her face drooped, and she shared it. She was like a fashion vlogger, and she shared it everywhere. She went back and got more Botox. She still continues to get it. So it's just like everyone can have their choice. Like some people do and some people don't. And some people just don't want to. And if you want to put yourself at risk, it is literally your life. We just want you to know when you're like, Amanda had like a shit ton of strokes, and they told her that she had anxiety too. Like,
yeah, she had stroke. She was having strokes. You could see it on an image, like strokes.
But that's just normal, right? That's just anxiety. So it's like advocate for your fucking self too. Like I think my biggest take of these two is advocate for yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't chop up to anxiety, especially I think with those that have had it are like, no. Like I get anxiety may have some of the same symptoms where you feel locked in your body. Yeah. But there's a difference where you can mentally get yourself out of that. Maybe not always, but for the most part, you physically couldn't. There's a difference between your nervous system fucking with your brain and your nervous system fucking with your body. And I don't think people, I don't know how they don't gauge that in hospitals a little bit better. Like, what?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and that's why the group is trying so hard to, you know, get out there more and spread the word more, because really it's like this shit's dangerous. People don't know what kind of risks they're taking. And it might be good for a while. That's like the blanket story. I was okay until I wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I was okay until my whole world shattered. So it's like, I don't know. And then it's like, just think about, like you said, why are you doing it? For what? Because now that I'm on this side, it's fucking weird that we are just paralyzing muscle groups. Or that's what we're doing. That's what society says looks pretty. It's weird.
And I like
now.
Maybe I'm just a fucking rebel. Maybe that's what it is. It's like when someone says something to do and it's popular, sometimes I fall into it. Don't get me wrong. Like I have moments, but I'm also just like, if someone's like, you have to do this, I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm never doing it. Like, like ask my spouse. He knows how to ask me to do things. It's like, don't tell me I have to do it. Right. Like it was like when 50 Shades came out, everyone's like, you have to read it. I'm like, I will never.
I'll never read that book.
And then 3 years later, I was like driving. I was like, okay, I'll read it now that it's not like hype. And I was like, it wasn't bad written. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I feel like be a rebel to it, right? Like if you truly hate quote unquote the patriarchy and the beauty industry, then try not to exemplify and solidify those standards by doing it. You know, I hate to say this. Yes, of course, men are attributed to it. But actually, if you see a lot of men, and I'll probably get hated for this, they a lot say that they don't really enjoy the injections. And then what I see in the comment section are women like, you don't even know that your women probably get them. And like, we're not doing this for you. We're not doing that for that. It's like, okay, I get it to a degree, but like, come on, let's just be like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, your men probably aren't going to see that you need this. And they're going to think that you're beautiful. Your friends, your family, everyone around you is going to love you for the energy that you give off, you know?
Absolutely.
So I just invite people to redirect their thought patterns. And when we're looking at those things and we're calling them awful or we're aging, it's like, look at it as gratitude. Flip all of that. I think I talked about this with Stephanie, you know, having that gratitude of like, I can smile. I'm breathing today, like especially having days where you couldn't do anything but cry or barely breathe, right? It's like, I get to smile. How awesome is that? Like, you know what I mean? I get to have my eyes open and see things. I get to, you know, have emotions that are like, what the fuck? Because I feel things, you know? I've been on SSRIs. I felt nothing. My face was flat and I hated life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and truly, everyone do what they want. Just be informed, right? I think that's my message today. And is there anything that we could add of your story? I'm sure it's probably a lot more than that, but do you feel like we covered everything today?
I feel like we covered most of it. Yeah, I really do. I feel like we covered everything today.
Perfect. Do you have any advice for anybody that's in the same position like you are right now, or that you were in, where maybe they're suffering from some of these reactions?
To hang in there. The only thing like that's truly going to help is if you can remain calm in the storm, because it is so hard. And just to give it time, your body will figure it out. And as long as you give your body the tools that it needs to recover, it will. And that could be 1 year, that could be 2 years. Like that's kind of what we're seeing, that 1 to 2 year mark. You're in it for the long haul. That's why this is so risky. It's not like, oh, you're feeling off for 2 weeks, 1 to 2 years. Some people never make a full recovery, which I know that sounds scary, but we see it all the time in the group. And some people do, they get themselves back. But you just have to hang in there and be really patient and just really, really take care of your body.
Yeah, you do. And reach out to the support and your support team too, right? Like every one of you said that you've formed this beautiful like alliance together, and you guys all stand and support each other. And there's some that have been through it for years and some that are just going through it. And so that's why I love the group. That's why I appreciate you guys like coming on the show and sharing, because it really does make a huge impact. And just at the end of the day, it's made a huge impact in my life. So even just me personally, thank you again for, you know, being such a loud like voice in this space and not backing down, even if like you said, you've had to take breaks. But we all have to do that at times. Like you don't go work out the whole time. You have to take a break. You need to, and just to prove to people too in this moment, like, why is she having to take a break about talking about her story? Come on, you guys, let's be a little bit more compassionate and kind to one another when we're talking about our experiences, whether we want to believe it or not. You could put it in the fuck it bucket and forget about it. But taking that second to be rude and mean and gaslighting, serves nobody. So yeah, I just really appreciate it. But if anyone wants to find you on social media, is that something you're comfortable sharing as well, so they can reach out to you?
Yeah. Okay. My Damaged by Beauty Industry Standards, it's on IG, and so I'll send you my handle. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ange, for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad I could come on finally after all this time.
Yes. So. I'm so proud, and I can't wait for another year to have you girls. I kind of want to do like a one with all of you and do like a year catch up with like all 5 of you and see what that's like. I think that would be really beautiful, because I know you guys are all friends in the background too, and I really love that. Thank you so much. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening today, and until next time, bye. Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys. Bye.